For all of human history, there has been very few things which transcend race, culture, and time. But belief is fundamental to human nature. It's the driving force behind anything and everything which happens in the world. Every empire built, every religion followed, every scientific breakthrough found, every revolution started, every war fought, and every act of evil done started with belief. Belief has inspired people to build civilizations, and it's convinced people to fly planes into buildings. But what actually is it? Is it simply something that you believe to be true? Or is it something more? It's made poor men rich. It's cured symptoms without medicine and persuaded millions of things that were not true. Everyone believes in something, but the power of belief goes beyond even what science can explain. This is probably the most obvious thing ever said, but humans are unique to every other living animal on the planet. But why? The answer is intelligence, right? We are smarter than 100% of all other species. Maybe, but it's all on how you measure intelligence. When you look at an orca and you see it looking right back at you, it makes me question if we truly are. The one thing that I do think sets us apart from the rest is us humans, we act on things that don't physically exist. The invisible lines we call borders between countries, using money to trade for things people have, and laws we choose not to break. These all do not exist in the animal kingdom, and essentially they are a shared belief between people. So belief has the power to influence a whole species. But this doesn't give it a mystical power. We can explain all of this just by evolution doing what it does best. And it picks behaviours which are beneficial to survival. Individuals being able to all agree on something creates a tribe. And the saying, there is strength in numbers, doesn't come from nowhere. What does become harder to explain is when the act of believing physically changes the body. In 2002, a trial was put on which involved 180 different patients. They all had arthritis in the knee. They suffered from the same symptoms: pain, stiffness, swelling, something that required treatment to relieve the pain. So, they were all put to sleep, and unbeknownst to them, they were split into 3 different groups. Group 1, they would get a knee washout. This is basically just washing the joint out with fluid. Group 2 would get a full knee cleanup, removal of debris, tidying up any frayed materials, like a proper surgery on the knee. But Group 3 would have no surgery at all. They all went under believing that they were going to go for surgery, but only 2 groups did. But the interesting thing is, the doctors followed up with all 3 groups, and they had the same results. It wasn't magic, but it was the body responding to the belief that healing had taken place. The placebo effect is a real thing, and it is one of those weird things that science just can't really explain properly. Another study in 2001 looked at patients with Parkinson's disease. It's a condition which is connected to dopamine production. The patients were given what they believed was treatment, but in some cases it was only a placebo. Yet the brain scans showed something real was happening. The brains began releasing dopamine. There was a chemical change inside the body which wasn't triggered by the drug itself, but it was the expectation of getting better. But maybe the strangest placebo studies were the ones where people knew that the pill was fake.
I organized a clinical trial giving people placebo pills in people with irritable bowel syndrome, which is a really difficult condition. I had to sign the informed consent and say it was placebo. And we gave them a rationale. We said, you know, we know that people get better with placebos, but we don't know if they get better with placebos if they know. But we think it works maybe like Pavlov's dogs. If you give, when Pavlov's dogs heard a bell, they would salivate. So we think that even if you don't believe it's going to work, we think it might work.
In 2021, Harvard did a trial with patients that had IBS, so like irritable bowel syndrome. They were given pills which were openly labeled as placebos. They were told the pills contained no active medicine. There was no hidden drug, there was no deception, and yet still, many improved more than those who received treatment, which suggests that the placebo effect is not simply about being tricked. It's sometimes just the ritual of treatment and the expectation of improvement. The body learns to respond, and maybe enough to create a real effect. All these stories of placebos, it doesn't prove that belief can cure anything. I'm pretty sure believing a broken leg isn't broken probably won't solve your issue. People shouldn't reject normal medicine. But what it does show is that the body responds not only to what is happening physically, but sometimes it responds to what the mind thinks is happening or thinks is possible. When the mind believes something is possible, does it make it easier to achieve the thing it believes? And does it work the opposite way? If we are told that something is impossible, does the universe make it so? Do we send a message out to the world which then creates a barrier? And what happens when someone smashes through that barrier? In 1954, Roger Bannister did. For years, it was believed that running a mile in under 4 minutes was past the limit of human performance. Not just difficult, but almost impossible. No one had ever recorded someone in human history legitimately do it. But on the 6th of May, 1954, a 25-year-old medical student stood on a running track in Oxford. Although he was a great runner, he wasn't the best in the world. He had finished 4th in the 1500 metres at the 1952 Olympics. After what he deemed a disappointing result, he set himself a new target, the 4-minute mile. Roger wasn't a modern athlete. He was training in and around his medical studies, and 2 years after the Olympics, Roger Bannister ran a mile in 3 minutes 59.4 seconds. The first to ever do it. The impossible made possible. And as word spread, people were amazed that he'd actually achieved it. But he'd done it through hard work and dedication and belief. I'm not saying it was belief that got him that extra 0.6 seconds, but what it did do was break the barrier. It made everyone else believe it was possible. So only 46 days after Roger had done what no one had ever done before, a man named John Landy stood on a racetrack in Finland, and he ran a mile in 3 minutes 57 seconds. Just 46 days later, Landy broke the record again. The unbreakable limit of the 4-minute mile had lasted for years, until one man proved it was possible. And then another man did it less than 7 weeks later. What changed? Human biology didn't evolve in 46 days. The track didn't get smaller or the distance become shorter. What was changed was the belief. It's now documented that well over 2,000 runners have done it now. The moment that the world saw a human go under the 4 minutes, the barrier stopped being a law of nature and became a challenge. And that is the strange power of belief. Sometimes the limit is not in the body, it's in the stories we have been told. The more we look at belief, it stops looking like an idea and works more like a force, like a powerful tool which pushes people past the edge of what they think is possible. And I think this is where some people blur the lines between psychology and what they call manifestation. Manifestation is the idea that if you believe and focus and imagine in something enough, it somehow influences the future that we experience.
Because I think it's really a marvelous thing, that visualization thing you did. Do y'all read about this or hear this? That you used to go up on Mulholland Drive and park
every night
and visualize seeing yourself as...
Yeah, I would visualize,
This is when you were broke and poor.
You know, right, having directors interested in me and people that I respected saying, you know, I like your work or whatever that is. And
yeah, and I also feel that things that I repetitively think about or say, I'm able to manifest. Like, you know, this house, for example, I manifested this.
If you want to achieve something, or if you want to do something, you got to speak it into existence. So like, say you want a car, or you want something, or you want to be successful or whatever, just keep talking about it. You know what I mean? Just keep on believing in yourself and say, you know what, I'm gonna do this.
How amazing would it be if I could just imagine a Lamborghini on my driveway? If all our hopes and dreams were just achievable, not by hard work, but just by thinking about it hard enough.
If you can see it here, and you have the courage enough to speak it, it will happen. So I see these shots, I see these sequences, and I don't shy away from them. A lot of times people believe in certain things, but they keep to themselves. They don't put it out there. You truly believe in it. If you become vocal with it, you are creating that law of attraction, and it will become reality.
Seriously, I think we should be careful. Because after the craze of The Secret in 2006, people genuinely believed that they could magically make money by solely believing that they would. That the universe would deliver them exactly what they wanted because they visualized it.
Just this, I have an insane belief in my own ability to manifest things. Insane belief.
All these amazing stories of vision boards and fantastic achievements through visualization and manifestation, they do almost look like magic on the surface. But maybe the real explanation is not that belief bends the universe. Maybe belief bends us. Once we change, our behavior changes, our decisions change, our attention changes, our confidence changes, and eventually the path in front of us starts to change too. So when someone says they manifested something, I don't think it's happened because they thought about it long enough. I think when you think about something so much, your behavior changes and aligns to that thought. So does belief have power? I think it does, but I don't think it's the power that people want it to be. Maybe belief doesn't bend the universe or pull money out of thin air. What it does is, it changes us. Belief is a power in the sense of its effects on the person that we are and how we move through the world. The decisions that we make are based in our beliefs. How we speak to people, the things that we build, the way that we love. It can blind us to truth and make us ignore the obvious. So the question is not, does belief change reality? The question is, what reality is your belief leading you to? If you've made it this far, like the video, subscribe. There is so much more to talk about.